Welcome back, Sooner Nation, to the Sooner Surge, as we are right now, Quentin Griffin or Peyton Bowen days away from opening game of the 2023-2024 season, Team 129, getting ready to get after it. You guys go ahead and get after it right here. Click the subscribe button there on your screen. Make sure you're subscribed to us as we continue to put out daily updates on Sooner practices and other things. And yesterday, Jay, team was kind of given the day off. And I know you're going to go into detail maybe a little bit about that. But, yeah, let's start with that.
I mean, we've heard Brent Venables this year saying how last year he felt like, and I think some players have even said it, felt like they kind of hit a wall. And if you remember that last year, during the season, Venables said that him and Smitty kind of sat down and even talked about it, that these guys were just worn down. I mean, let's face facts. Venables said it, and I think they're going a little differently this year, maybe giving them some time off. Not really. And I know people may hear that and say, "Well, why aren't they out there working?" It's not like they're getting full days off. They're still doing everything. It's just away from the pads and the drills and stuff like that out at the rugby field. It's time away. Still together, I believe. Maybe they went to a water park today, had a little bonding. But yeah, this team's they're gonna set this up this year so this team's strong at the back half of the season. We know last year, because of the depth they had, that was part of the big issue. Is they didn't have the depth really to match what they were trying to do, and so this year they do. So so we'll see. They'll be back at it today, hard, I'm sure, in pads and everything. But hey, one thing we did see yesterday, Butkus Award, Danny Stutsman nominated for the Butkus Award. He's in the nomination this year, and if he were to win it, man, it would be the 5th winner for Oklahoma. And what's interesting about that is you got Teddy Lehman, obviously, Rocky Kalmus, and then Brian Bosworth. And then people, some of the viewers may think that's only 3, but Bosworth won it twice. That dude, unreal. Brian Bosworth, man, 2-time winner, still the only 2-time winner of the Butkus. And so, man, Stutsman, we saw the photo of him today getting nominated for that. I'm just so excited for him this year. I think he's going to have a massive year.
Yeah, and I mean, there's been other great linebackers playing in the Crimson and Cream, but definitely like the ones you mentioned. But Stutsman, everything's setting up right now for him to just like you said, have a monster year with everything. We talked about it, I think, yesterday, covered Stutsman a little bit. But you also saw yesterday kind of the video that Oklahoma football put out on their Twitter. If you haven't watched it, you need to go watch it. It's the veteran guys kind of talking about some youngins that are impressing. And one that continues to turn heads, and we've talked about on here, I know Brody's mentioned quite a bit, and Jackson, a lot of them, is Petaway. If you saw some of the highlight reels that they were showing in that video clip, dude does not look like a freshman. His route, just the way he breaks out of his route is impressive. And those are the little things when you think, well, what can you really see at a video of our practice? But things like that, the cutting ability, way he secures the ball after a catch, things like that stand out. Another guy that was mentioned that we haven't talked a lot about is cornerback, and Billy Bowman was really talking about him. It's Josiah Wagner, Josiah Wagner is impressive.
Yeah, and Jay Valai, we've heard him. He calls him, I think, Bulldog, Pitbull. We saw the hit he made there, and just the dude he's a worker. He's a hard worker, and he's kind of like one of those no fear mentality. And you have to have that at cornerback. You can't be a guy that's going to be shaken if you get beat. You can't be a guy that's going to be able to get beat, go over to the sideline, and come back in and be scared or be fearful you may make the same mistake. You can't have that attitude. And he seems like a guy that's just hard worker, physical, not the hugest guy, but he's physical. I mean, he's a physical guy. And so I think, yeah, he's a name to watch for sure for playing time this year, I believe, even as a true fresh. And then
drop your questions and comments in the chat if you have any. But one thing I'd like the viewers to comment on is maybe a comparison of Josiah Wagner, of a DB or cornerback that he kind of reminds you of, because I see a little Trey Norwood in him, a little bit, maybe some Norwood in him. But I think he's also a a little bit bigger than Norwood was, right?
I was going to say Michael Thompson. Michael
Yeah, that's
Thompson
your.
was kind of a dog there, a physical guy. Um, but and another one, Petaway. You give us examples of comparison with him. Hey, he had that number 17 on, looked like men's running out there, but uh, one of those highlights, he made a just a beautiful route, and the guy he beat was Peyton Bowen, if you noticed. I mean, so you got a 5-star D back that you're going against, and that's the thing, competitive depth, guys. I mean, that's what we're going to keep talking about. I'm going to harp on it all year. Probably is you got these guys that are freshmen, these guys that are haven't been at OU, and they're 5-star, and it's competitive. The practices are going to be way more competitive. The other guy in that video, Jeremy, DeJoun Terry, and we talked about DeJoun Terry. There's a difference. This guy's played SEC ball. Okay, he was 4-star recruit, played SEC ball there at Tennessee, played against the big boys at Bama, big boys at Georgia, played all of them. Okay, walking into OU, we've heard that he's different as far as just physicalness, and we've heard Todd Bates say that the defensive line in general, they just got bigger guys. They're bigger and badder, baby, and that's what they needed. They need that this year, big time.
Yeah, the secondary is going to be much improved, not just because of the increase in talent and depth, but because of the defensive line and the way they're going to be able to get after the quarterback. I think the depth that they have at D line again this year, it's not again, but again, in how we're talking about competitive depth, is it's going to be a game changer when we get late in the games. That's going to be, I think, the most noticeable thing as we see as the season progresses is late in games. I think this team is going to shine where in year, especially last year, these guys were gassed. So that's something to look forward to. There are going to be some scrimmages coming up in the pretty near future, so we're going to get some more look at that coming up. So,
hey, one thing on Danny Stutsman, I mentioned 3 guys there that won the Butkus there at OU: Lehman, Kalmus, and Bosworth. Looking at Stutzman, man, he's kind of like a mix of, you got Lehman, he's not as fast as Lehman. Lehman was a freaking burner, dude, but he's kind of got that same, I would think, aggressiveness as Lehman. Kalmus was aggressive, but Kalmus was just the dude was always in the right spot. I mean, it didn't matter. He was in the right spot he was supposed to be, and I think Danny now is learning the system, and that's what you're going to see more of with Danny. He's not going to be out of position. He's going to be in the right spot. He's got the speed. He's got the athletic ability. And you know what? He's kind of got the moxie of Boz. And I just kind of think, hey, obviously you're not going to be those 3 linebackers that won, and you're talking a freaking machine. But I'm just saying you take a little bit of each of those guys and put all that together, and I think Stutzman can win the Butkus this year. I think he might win the Butkus. I really do.
I do too. Got a great chance. And I know that there's cricket chirping, Jay, or something.
Crickets, man.
And
It's early in the morning,
crickets.
dude. Hey, it's
Hey,
early in the morning, Jeremy. What
and
do you think
listen,
crickets
hey,
are out?
you guys can make some noise too. You guys can make some noise by clicking the subscribe button, by commenting. Comment, make some noise here on the Sooner Surge. We love it. We appreciate every one of you guys who have subscribed and commented and liked. This is why we do it. Really, is just to provide content for the viewers and to get interaction here about OU sports. So make sure you've done that. We'll continue to provide those updates as the season is getting closer and closer. Fall is upon us. And until next time, Jay, Boomer.
Boomer.